Educator. I'm also a proud owner of 2 salons located here in the Bay Area, California. I'm so happy to be coming live with you guys on YouTube. You know, we've been closed since December, so I'm so happy to be in the salon again. So I'm so happy today. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite colors, which is Shortstop Professional Aurora Color 10. So what's really cool about this is it's going to show you guys basically how to get nice speed lift within basically 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys a cool little kind of placement technique with our lovely mannequin right here. And then what we're going to be doing also is I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of like a root mount kind of technique, and we'll get started with that. Also, if you guys can hear me, please give me some hearts or show a little emojis or something. But yeah. So what we're going to do today is I'm basically going to be getting started with our mannequin here. You guys can kind of see here her hair color is already a nice pretty light shade. She also has a lot of coolness, which I noticed throughout it. And so I really kind of wanted to just enhance this. Because we are using Aurora Color 10, it is color, not a lightener. So what that means is that she's a virgin. She's never been colored. So of course we're going to be able to get that lift in the hair. So that's something to always keep in mind is if you guys are doing lift, do keep in mind that the hair is virgin. Because if it's not virgin, you're not going to see the results, obviously, because it's color, and color doesn't lift color. So for today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys a quick little half head highlight, and then you guys will kind of see the contrast between the two sides of seeing how it's lifted. I want to create a very dimensional, quick result color. I don't want something that you're going to have to spend a lot of time to do. So what I'm going to do with just this side is we're going to kind of focus on brightening up the hair. And what I always like to do is you really want to analyze and kind of see how they wear their hair and kind of where you want it to be the most lived in. And if you want lived in, kind of really highlighted hair, you really want to focus on the hairline and even the back of the hair so that when they do go and like pull up the hair, you want to make sure that the whole perimeter is blonde. It's not a good look if you have a nice, beautiful money piece and then it's like super dark all back here. You know then it's not a natural, you know, lived-in vibe. So what we're going to be working with is kind of seeing where is the most bulk and kind of thickness in our hair. And you can kind of see it's obviously going to be focused more so on the ends. So what that means is I'm going to basically be really brightening up all of her hairline to give her more of that pop money piece so that if she curls it or wears it down, it just looks very soft. And then throughout the ends, we'll just give it a very sun-kissed vibe. So we're going to be using 2 colors today. We're going to be using Shortstop Professional Aurora Color 10. We're going to be using 11-0. So this is a speed lift color. That'll give you up to 4 levels of lift. And this is going to be our natural. And then I'm also going to be using 11-2, which is going to be our ash, which is more of a blue pigment. And it's going to be more of a cooler shade for the results. Obviously, because it's a cooler shade, you're not going to get her like really silvery or really cool. It's just going to give them a very nice, more dimensional hue throughout the hair. So when mixing up your color, it is extremely important that you always use a scale. Like, I hate hearing anyone where they're like, just eyeball this and mix this and do this. This is color. This is a chemical. This isn't for fun. This is something that you need to actually weigh out and measure out and get it correctly. Otherwise, your color is not going to work. And then you guys are going to be like, Brandon, I hated your color. I didn't like it because when I tried it, it didn't work the same. But really, it does. You just need to make sure you're really mixing it up well. So with this, we're doing 11-0. And with this, I'm going to be mixing Aurora Real 40 volume. So this will give it the most lift, and it's going to be more on a natural shade. And then we're going to pour the developer. So this is going to be our first color. So this is going to be 11-0. My favorite bowls are actually these Shortstop Professional bowls because they have these little tabs, so I can literally put the little tab right here so that I know the exact color that I'm going to be using. And then for my second formula I'm going to be doing is 11-2. And we're just going to be mixing this. Something that I do like to always point out with our developers is because I am using a 40 volume, it's gonna, it is more of an oil base. So with that, it's gonna give you the nice lift in the hair, but it's not gonna expose too much warmth. Another thing with this, because I'm doing, this is 11-2, I'm gonna be using this with 30 volume so that I can get that cool reflect in the hair, but it doesn't look too muddy in the hair. I'm gonna mix 30. And then make sure to always put the little tabs right here just to keep it a little more convenient for you guys. I hate when I'm like working and I have no idea like what color is what. I keep so cute. So for our girl now, it's really gonna be kind of focusing on where we want all this lift to be living. And you really want to make sure that you're really whisking up the color nice and well. So when you are stirring it, you want to make sure it gets like this really nice kind of creamy consistency. Depending on what type of color I'm using, especially because this is more of a speed lift, I really want to make sure I'm coming in here and like folding it in and mixing it a little. I don't want to go in and stir it too crazy that it gets it kind of really fluffy, I feel. I don't want to whisk too much air into it. But you want to kind of fold it in and give it a nice little mixing. Alrighty. So now with our lovely model here, I'm basically going to work off of kind of the hairline. So you want to comb it back, you want to kind of see where everything lives and kind of see where everything falls. And for me, with kind of playing with the hairline, you can kind of see where you want it. So as you can see, it kind of is rounding and then it goes kind of more like at a diagonal back, I guess you can say. So what I'll do is I'll kind of work off of that diagonal back sectioning. And then you can kind of see here, this is basically going to give you your first section of where you basically want to create your highlights. So you can see here, it's going to be focused right about at the sideburns, and then you're going to have a little bit right on your ends. So for this, what I want to focus on is when she pulls her hair forward, we want to keep a little bit of depth here, but we still want it to be very lived in and blonde. So you can see here she has a lot of this little baby hair. That's perfect. That's going to create the depth, that's going to create the dimension, so work off of that. You'll just need to do a slight little back comb, and then there's your sectioning right there for your first little subsection. You're going to get your foil. And then our first formula that we're going to do, that I'm going to be placing, is our first one, which is going to be 11-0. You're going to focus it more so on the ends, and then you're going to feather it slightly up. Any questions so far? No? If you guys do have any questions, I will be doing a little giveaway today, so let me know if you guys are listening, and maybe you guys can enter doing something fun today. So still for that same section, I'm going to repeat it with a little tease, a little back comb. I'm going to place my section down. I'm going to get still that same formula that I did on the back, 11-0, and then you're still going to be painting with a diagonal back feel, with keeping it brighter towards the front of the hair. And then as you're angling back, you're gonna have a little less. And then fold the foil, and then give it a little, nice little tuck sandwich. So that's gonna be your first section. And still working off that same diagonal back, I'm just gonna bring it up a little. And then you're still gonna do that same diagonal back, all the way back. You see? So kind of focusing right at the hairline and then just going all the way back. Because we're working on a mannequin, or I would say even if you're thinking of someone with fine hair, you want to still have depth and dimension in there. So if I focus on brightening all of this, it's going to make her hair look very flat, and it's not going to look as thick as it typically would if we were to keep all that dimension in there. So with this next section here, I would still from there do another slice diagonal back. And then for this piece here, you can really see it's gonna brighten right above the eye. So when this falls, it's gonna really bring out the guest's eye color. So you really wanna focus on that. And for this piece, I'm just gonna do a slight little weave.
Someone asked, what comb are you using?
My comb, I actually don't know. It might be a YS Park, but I actually don't know. I could actually find it out, and then I could let you guys know after the class. For this section here, what I did is I just went in, I did a little weave, and then we're just gonna take it all the way up to the root. And then we're just gonna add that full highlight all the way up. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna give her that full-blown money piece. So it's gonna make her feel very bright and lived in right at the front, but it's not gonna be too bright for her that she's not gonna like it, and it's gonna look very streaky. That's why when you're doing a slice and then a weave in it, it'll give it more of a dimensional kind of lived in vibe. And again, what I'm gonna do is from that same subsection that I took earlier, which is here, you can see that one little highlight right about here. You're gonna take another section from right behind there, just following that whole diagonal back section. And then because this is the back, it's a little bit more bulky, we're just gonna slice this whole piece right here with a little bit of a teasy light, so that it gives it a lot of dimension in her hair, but gives it a very sun-kissed vibe. We're gonna place that down. We're gonna get the same formula, which is 11-0, with Schwarzkopf Professional Agora Color 10. And we just wanna focus on really keeping it blended. I don't like to see, especially because this is color, this isn't a lightener, you need to focus on, it needs to be a little bit of a bulkier section, not too big, but it needs to be bulky enough that it gives you that lift, and you can really notice it in the hair. So from this section here, it's gonna be right where the hairline is. You can take that same little kind of, let's say maybe about 1/4 of an inch of a section. Still do that diagonal back. Make sure sections is clean. What you want to kind of focus on is when you see this top layer kind of full, how heavy is that? How long is that? You can see her length is pretty long, but her layers are a little short. So you want to make sure with those layers, because they are short, you don't want to add too much lightness with all those short layers. Otherwise, number one, it could look like breakage. Number two, it'll just look not natural. And that's not something that we want to focus on with her. And again, like we did with this front section, I'm going to come through here and I'm going to weave so that we can keep her hairline really nice and bright. And I'm just gonna follow it just about 1 inch away from her hairline so that when it dissipates, it falls into that first section we have here. So what that's gonna do is it'll give it a very natural lived-in vibe with doing the least foil work, which is always the best, especially when you're using color 10. Some things when you are using color 10 that I always like to kind of point out is that because it is a 10-minute color, it only lives for 30 minutes. So if you are someone who's gonna foil in about 2 hours, you're gonna have to be remixing your color, I would say every about 15 minutes, just to make sure that you can get that full power of Agora Color 10. Because if you go in there and you're just like throwing it around and not really paying attention, it's not gonna work at how you like it. And then you're gonna come through here and then you're gonna lock this foil. So when I'm locking it, if I just come through here and then close it, the foil is gonna slip. So in order to make sure that it doesn't slip, I'm gonna lock it twice and then close the corners. Then for the back here, you can see that it's kind of falling and it's starting to, get its place of where you want it to go. And then we're gonna section it again from the back. The same like we've been doing. You're gonna get this section, and then you're just gonna do a little teasy light. Get those little hairs, get them out of your way. And then we're just gonna use that same formula, which is Schwarzkopf Professional Color 10, and it's with 11-0. So it'll give us the full 4 levels of lift, and it's gonna be more of our neutral, natural shade, so that it'll give her a very nice lived-in blend. Then we're gonna lock it. But now, because remember I said I'm using 2 formulas, for this top layer here, I want it to be bright, but I don't want it to look super bright. Meaning that the sides, the length, and the front, you want that to be basically around a level, let's say 9, 10, where through the top, you maybe want to keep it more of a level 8, 9, so that it gives it that very dimensional look throughout the hair. And then for this section here, we're still gonna separate it into 2 sections. So this is gonna be my first one. And then we're gonna still do that weaving technique. When I weave, I like to just move up and down depending on what I do, which will give you more of a sections, kind of your highlights will look like this. Versus when you do, I know some people like to do more of like a rounded kind of motion, and I feel like when I do that, I want to be more so either on the scalp to kind of really work with more of those round movements, but then I feel like it gives you a little bit more of a thicker section in there. So if you can kind of see those work, it's a little bit of a thicker section here and a little bit here, versus when I go in and do my weaving, which is literally an up and down motion, like this, up, down, up, down, up, down. But when you're doing it, you're gonna wanna work quick. And I almost hold my breath just because I wanna make sure it's very tiny. And then when you get your sections, you really wanna make sure that you pull that underlayer down. Obviously this is mannequin, so I'm showing you ripping the hair, but you wanna make sure all these little baby hairs, you really wanna make sure they're not in your way, because that's gonna basically, you wanna mainly focus on more so the ends versus just those little baby hairs. And then we're gonna focus, this is 11-2. And then if you look at where I put it versus to the other ones, I put it, I wanna say maybe about 1.5 inches down. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feather this working up, but bringing it really close up to the top up here. When I said feathering, I don't know if any of you guys are watching Bridgerton. If you guys are, put a comment down below. But the feathering tins, drama. Alrighty then. We're just gonna put a little bit of color there. You really wanna make sure it's saturated. Something that's very important when you're doing color is if you're ever mixing and you feel like the hairs are kind of sticking up and you're just like kind of slapping it down and you're noticing the hair is still following you, that means it's not enough product. So put enough product so when you lay it down, all the hair is laying nice and flat so that you don't have to worry about anything funky happening. Then we're gonna close that. And then let's see the back again. Don't forget about the back. We're gonna slice it again. And then we're gonna do a teasy layer. So it's kind of almost, think of it as a not sectioned highlight, but it's keeping it so that you can work a little quicker. And you're just gonna back comb it. And then again, this is 11-2. So this is by Shortcut Professional, our color 10. So this is gonna give her a nice speed lift. And this is gonna be for something, I like to say maybe like a lunch break color. It's gonna be someone who comes into you and they're like, hey, you know what? I, wanted to do, I thought a touch up, but actually I want like these highlights and I want all this stuff done. And then you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't have the time. Well, make the time. Do you wanna make money or do you wanna, stress about something else? So as you can see here, we have all these highlights placed through. You can see the foils and you can see from the top layer that we place this last foil here, what it's gonna do is it'll dissipate and you'll have just this nice bright pop, and then you'll have this nice dimension of her natural just kind of peeking through. So it'll give her a very bold look, but not too bold. So this is gonna give her something that she'll really notice the pop, but it's not gonna make her feel like it's not her. So what we do is after we're done doing this, I would let it process for about 15 minutes. Something that you wanna notice with color 10 is it does live for a full 30 minutes. So meaning when you're processing this doll head, anything human, whatever, dog, anything, if you guys are doing it, you guys need to remember that it does live for 30 minutes, meaning that from right when you apply that color, right from when you mix the color, it starts living then. You have only 30 minutes. After that 30 minutes, the color is done, it doesn't work, it doesn't do anything. So that's why I mixed here. I actually physically mixed it to show you guys, and then I applied it. Because then you're gonna see the true result. If I were to mix it back at my color bar, bring it over here, talk, you're not gonna get that full result. So keep that in mind whenever you are using any of our Agora color tint. You wanna make sure that the color is fresh when you are using it. So I'm gonna let her process. It's gonna take a little look. It's been about, maybe about 10 minutes that it's been on, but let's gonna see how the back is looking so far so I can show you guys. So you can definitely see all that nice lift. Mind you, this is color, not a lightener. So I do wanna point that out. And look at how beautiful this is. It's lifting, but it doesn't look warm. It looks nice and cool, and it'll give her a very dimensional look in her hair. So once we're done doing that, I would let it process for the full 15 minutes, and then after that, we'll get her shampooed and conditioned. But because of timing, it's alive, I'm gonna actually have her process here. I'll shampoo and style her, and then I'm actually gonna upload the finished post onto my Instagram itself, which is at It's Brand Ballance. And then what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna be shampooing and treating her with our new Fiber Clinique, which is an amazing product that is that we just actually launched. So what I really love about this is it's a customizable treatment, meaning that when you're mixing it, like think of things nowadays that are happening, like we're wanting to customize shoes, we're wanting to customize bags, we're wanting to customize a lot. And so what's really cool about this is it's a treatment that you're gonna shampoo, and it's actually gonna help to strengthen the hair up to 10 times, which is crazy. And on top of that, it's gonna help to rebuild up to 3 of your broken disulfide bonds that are broken. And then what's really cool about it is that all the packaging is this little, I don't know if it's a hexagon or what you wanna call it, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but what's really cool is this is the actual molecule that it's made of so that it's strengthening the hair. So it's kind of a cute little packaging, and it's black, and it has a little hologram, which I love. So we're gonna go in and shampoo and condition the hair. And then we're gonna take our treatment here. I'm gonna mix it up for you guys. I'm gonna show you how to use it, and then I'm gonna actually show you guys another technique. So with this, you're gonna mix up 30 grams. So you just put your treatment in. So this is gonna be your triple bond mask treatment. So after you're done shampooing, you put this in the hair, and then you can customize the treatment. How cute is this? So depending on what you guys want, if you guys wanna focus on vibrancy, if you wanna focus on fortifying and strengthening the hair, or if you wanna focus on hydration. So this is really good because think of it as you have these 3 boosts that you have in the hair, and you can make it to whatever the client's needs are. If you want to add a little bit more vibrancy because we're doing a little bit more of a pop, boop, there you go. If you want to add hydration, because think of it like the hair you're using a color, even though it's going to be still healthy, you want to focus on keeping it a little bit more shiny, a little bit more manageable. So then you can add a little bit for hydration. And then the coolest one that I really like is for fortifying. So what this helps with is strengthening the hair. We all need this, especially when doing any type of lightening service, especially with me. I always focus on doing any type of bond builder, any type of anything. This is always gonna be something that you get. And I would probably say 1 to 2 pumps of this, and it'll be your best friend. You let this process for about 15 minutes, and then you go ahead and wash the hair.
Quick question for the processing on the highlights.
Yes.
Would you be able to use heat to process it a little quicker?
You could, but I would probably recommend not to, just because it is a high lift color. So you should already be experiencing the lift of it. I would say if it's going to be someone with darker hair, maybe a level 6, if you wanted to use heat, you could. But I would mainly focus on heat with being more of like coarse resistant hair, even for white coverage, personally. Alrighty then. So next, guys, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing on this mannequin here. I want to say she's about naturally a level 7. I want to kind of almost say she's a nice, cool level 7. And what we're going to be doing today, is there any questions so far, guys? Sorry if I'm not going miles an hour. Too much coffee. So with this mannequin here, what we're going to be doing is I want to focus on a very lived in kind of vibe. I want to show you guys a root melt, something very dimensional with her. Because I love this base color, don't get me wrong, but I just think it's flat. I think that it's not dimensional. I think it's just kind of, when I look at it, it's almost like a mousy brown, which is very beautiful. But if you want something natural and lived in, for me, I would go in, I would do a nice little shadow root, and then I'm just gonna kind of come in and I'll add a few little pops on her hair to give it a nice dimension throughout. So what we're gonna be doing again is I'm gonna still be using our Schwarzkopf Professional Agora Color 10, but for this we're gonna be using 7-12. So this is our Cendre Ash, so it will be a blue-violet blue base. And then we're gonna be using a little bit of our 7-00, which is our double natural. So it'll be for a white coverage, but I actually like to use it for depth because especially if I'm trying to do something where I want a little extra depth, it's always nice to add a little bit more of that. So I'm gonna be using 7-12, and let's mix a good amount of this. So what I'm gonna be using this for is this is gonna give us a nice little, this will be giving us a nice little bit of a shadow at her base. And what I'm gonna also be using it for is I'm gonna be using it so that I get a little bit of a low light throughout her hair because I wanna see more depth in her hair. I feel like it's a little bit flat and I wanna give her that dimension back. So with this, I'm gonna be using our Agora Royale. This is gonna be our 20 volume oil developer. And I'm gonna be doing this first. And then what I'm gonna be doing and focusing mainly on this for is we're gonna focus on basically doing a shadow root and low light. And then I'm gonna get another formula and then we're gonna focus that more so on kind of brightening the ends, but just adding a little bit more dimension throughout it. So it's not gonna really pop her hair. It's just gonna give her more depth throughout it. Any questions so far? You guys hearing me well?
Carmen, can you repeat your question about the person who has colored hair previously, please?
So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm just basically doing a shadow root. And I'm still gonna be doing on half of the head so that you guys can see, similar to the first mannequin I did. I wanna show you guys basically what this side versus the other side will look like. For me, I always use a comb whenever I'm doing a touch-up or any type of service. It's not about quickness and speed always. Sometimes it's about the feel and having that nice luxury color throughout. So we're gonna focus on getting all that hairline in. When I do the hairline, I like to kind of focus more of a tap, especially if I'm doing more of a shadow root. And get this, I am using Schwarzkopf Professional Agora Color 10, a permanent color with 20 volume. And this is just gonna be for something, I like to kind of say, maybe it's a client who came in on her lunch break. She didn't really know what the heck she wanted, but she wanted just something in her hair. And you're thinking, well, what am I gonna do? It's her lunch break number 1. I don't have time. How am I gonna get it on and off right away? And what am I gonna give her that'll give her the results you like and the results
For the first
that you
technique,
like?
if someone has previously colored hair, would you use a different technique altogether? Or would you use the same technique with different strengths of light and toning?
Great question. So for me, I would still do the same technique, but I would definitely use a different color. So if someone comes into me and I know and I can tell that they have artificial pigment in their hair, I don't even go with color. I don't even think about color. I would basically just go in there, get my brightness in with a lightener, and then follow up with whatever my tones may be. But I would still follow the same technique that I did today if they have a similar base to what my doll head was today. But if it's something where you can tell that the client's hair, you know, it looks a little funky, then I would probably say go in there, do a toner all throughout, and then go through and then do a nice little highlight just to give it a very more lived-in vibe. Did that answer your question? So still what I'm doing here is because we're focusing on depth and it's more of a shadow root. We're still focusing on diagonal back with kind of thinking the center of the back of the head you want to focus with the most darkness there. Because in general, that's how the hair typically is within sunlight. And you're lightening it in the sun throughout nature. So you're just gonna focus on coming through here and then still working on a diagonal back. I always like to, especially when I'm doing a shadow root and I'm doing something more dimensional, I always like to put in my base first and then move on to whatever else I'm doing, because I hate to see anything with like like holidays in the hair. I hate to see spotting. I hate cheetah print. I don't like any of that. The only thing that should be cheetah print are my shoes and my bow tie or a shirt, not hair. And then you really want to focus still the front. We're still doing a diagonal back. You're still going to focus on that. And you can really see here all the dimension already kind of starting to peek through. And then still with doing that same diagonal back, I love, you know, honestly, I always kind of work with the diagonal back just because I feel like that's always going to give you the softest feel in the hair. And it'll give you more of a natural look, which I love. And do keep in mind that this color is Agora Royale color 10, or sorry, Schwarzkopf Professional Agora color 10. And with this, it does only live for a full 30 minutes. So making sure when you are placing this, you're knowing your time. You're paying attention to your time. Have a watch on, have something, because you don't want to be like, okay, I think this is working. You don't really know. Maybe it's been on for 10 minutes with this client, and then you're like, this client, it was on for, you know, maybe 15 minutes, but the results are different. And that's true. The results will be different. And the reason being is because Agora Color 10 lives for a full 30 minutes, but meaning it only processes for a full 15 minutes. So if you've mixed your color and then you finish applying it on someone and then you're not really paying attention to the time, but you're wondering, how come this time her roots didn't cover, but last time it did, is timing. And what I mean by that is, think of it. If it's taking you, you know, a while to process Karen's hair, but Samantha's, you know, you don't really talk with her, but for some reason she's, you know, processed a little differently. It could probably be because the application wasn't consistent. Meaning that with one person you're kind of talking, you did it really slow, and then the other person you're just like, boop, boop, get it on and off. Of course they're gonna be different because maybe one was only processed 10 minutes, the other one was processed for 15 minutes. So keep that in mind. One thing that I do not like to hear is our color is not progressive. So meaning if you leave it on for an hour, it's not gonna darken past that. It's not gonna keep going darker and darker and darker. It'll only go dark up until that 15-minute mark. Then the color is dead. Don't even need to worry about it. You can leave it on for 2 hours and it'll still be the same. Not recommended, but the point. So now that we got all that on, now we're gonna create depth in the hair and that dimension. So where do you want it? So for me, I'm still focused on diagonal back, the same like our speed lift girl. If you have somebody that can hold, or clip up your ends. And still, remember with our other model, it was kind of, think of this as almost a reverse balayage. You're gonna come through here. I like to always, if my section is the back, I always like to pull it forward to kind of see where I want it. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna create our low light. So you can already see that depth is already starting there, and then just do the same thing, a little bit of a nice kind of thicker weave, get your section. I'm gonna use my hands, place it down, and then you're gonna run that through. All the way. Even her ends, all the way, root to end. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna create that amazing dimension throughout her hair that'll make it look like it's really popped in there. Again, we're gonna take another section, diagonal back, drop that down, clip this up, and then repeat. And you're gonna do this all throughout the hair really to keep that depth and that dimension in there. If anyone's still listening from earlier today, what was the majority of the color that I used on the first mannequin? Was it 12 series? Was it the 11 series? Or was it a level 9? any of you guys remember what I used? If anyone can answer that.
Michelle Gonzalez said 11, then Carmen said 11.
Perfect. So the two of you guys,
David
too. Ooh, okay. So the three of you guys, actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get, if you guys can actually find me on Instagram, I'm gonna send you guys a little gift. Hello, Ariel. So again, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be doing a diagonal back, still focused on that depth and dimension in the hair, and then we're just gonna do a nice little weave section. And I really wanna focus on all this depth and dimension. But do you guys see how thick this section is? Does it look thick to you guys? No, you wanna keep it paper thin. Do you see how thin that is? This will give it, let's call it Spiderweb Lowlights. Ooh, she sounds cute. So then you're just gonna put that in and then just work it all throughout the ends. And then just lay it on top of that last section. Woo. And you can see there where all that dimension lives, and it'll actually make her natural hair here pop even more, and it'll look brighter than it really is. With just doing a few of those little spiderweb lowlights. And again, section, and then I'm just gonna come through and just do this little lowlight motion. Nothing too crazy, and take it to where you guys want it to be. This isn't gonna be something to give you like a crazy, you know, different look. But right now, it's COVID. People aren't trying to be, you know, super platinum-y blonde. They're not trying to get these crazy, outrageous colors. You wanna kind of focus on how can you add depth and dimension? How can you take someone that's been doing a touch-up at home, and how can you make them wanna come back to the salon? And this is what you guys wanna do, because it's something that nobody's gonna be repeating at home. Karen and Samantha aren't gonna wanna repeat it because it's gonna take too much work for them. This is like a lot, and it's giving a little bit more, what is it? Customization for them. Same with our treatments, the same with our hair care, because it just helps everything. That's why I love Schwarzkopf Professional. You get everything right there. Get your retail, you get your, you know, back bar, and it's everything convenient for you guys.
Can you repeat what the 7-12 was mixed with?
7-12 was actually mixed with 7-00 for depth. So it was basically 2 parts of 7-12 with 1 part of 7-00 with 20 volume Agora Royale oil developer. Boop. And then that last piece. And because this is the top section, I'm just gonna leave it. Similar to my blondie over there, where we kept that top veil light, it's gonna be the same here. And the reason being is, look at this, when that falls through, it's gonna give it that pop right there. And then now the front. The front, very, very, very important. Ooh. I missed that. So the front is very important, and the reason I'm saying that is because you really wanna focus on where you're gonna get all the, basically dimension in the hair. So still you wanna do that diagonal back, but instead of sectioning, like if you're gonna highlight for a blonde, which would be more so here, you wanna keep all this bright. So what you're gonna do is you just wanna take this little veil here and just kinda take these pieces right there, so that you get this little darkness right around her face that'll make all this pop even more. And then she's gonna be like, okay, I got a little highlight and I got a little shadow. And then she's gonna love it because it looks like you did more than just a simple little shadow. It gives her something just very dimensional. And you can see in there already, just with that one piece, how much it's already gonna make it pop and look a little more lived in. And then here, we're gonna grab again, the same little section. And still, you're gonna comb. And then I'm gonna focus still right at that same spot, because the only way you're gonna have light is with darkness. So you guys always need to remember that. You always need to have a little bit of darkness in order to see the light. And then we're just gonna paint that and still saturate all the ends. And then another section. Okay, I'm gonna do another giveaway question if anyone's listening. So the first person who answers we'll win a little gift. But do you guys remember what area I'm from? It was a tricky one because it's not hair related. Going once, going twice. Anyone? No? Okay. So I'm still just gonna be repeating that, doing a little bit of a low lay, and then I'm just gonna place this all the way through. And then we're just gonna place it all the way down. And then from there, you guys can really already start to see all that dimension already kind of peeking through and popping through her hair, which is already looking so beautiful. And this would probably be the last piece. So in order to kind of see where everything lays, I would kind of get this section and then fan it out. So I can see that's where it's gonna live. Obviously, if I do all of this, it's gonna be too much kind of to live in. So I would just take this last section here, still do that little bit of a weaving motion. And you guys can already start to see all of the depth just starting to peek into her hair, which is so beautiful. And it doesn't look like it's giving her more of a mousy look. It's just giving her more of a lived-in look. It'll give her more of that kind of natural brunette color, but a cooler brunette. Just work that all the way down. And then this section, actually, fan it out, and then see where it's at. So you guys can see there, you can already see your depth and dimension all peeking through and out there. Any other questions so far? No? Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna show you guys real quick. Let's take a look at our mannequin again. So this was our first mannequin we did. It's been on for a little while, and you can see now, look at how light she's lifted out. A nice way to kind of check how light something's getting is you want to get the back of your rat tail comb and then kind of see it. And look at how beautiful. This was only on for about 15 minutes, and you can definitely see all that brightness and lightness all throughout. Actually, I lied, sorry. It's been on for about 30 minutes, but because it stopped working after the full 15 minutes, so kind of think of it like that. And this isn't still working in the hair, just for you guys to know. Alrighty then. So now what I'm gonna do with this mannequin is, because we do have that depth and everything placed in there, I wanna add a little bit of pops. Meaning I wanna keep her hairline a little more dimension. A little bit, not crazy. So I'm gonna do still Schwarzkopf Professional. This is Agora Color 10. We're gonna be using 9-12. And this is just gonna give her a little bit more of extra pop throughout her hair. And I'm only gonna do a few foils of this. So this is just gonna be if I wanna just keep her a little bit more of a pop around her hairline. So this is a level 9 because she is a natural doll head. The reason I really love this is because I just wanna give her a little bit more brightness just throughout her hairline, just to give it a little bit more pop and contrast throughout there. And I'm gonna be mixing that with Agora 30 volume. Sorry guys. Okay. So now with this, I'm gonna just come through and I'm gonna really whisk this up nice and well. I'm just gonna be mixing this up really nice and well. And then we're gonna focus just kind of on more so the front of the hair and giving it a little bit more brightness. So you can kind of pick through and see where you want it. I can already see that I have my little bit of lowlights all throughout here. And don't feel scared to kind of move it. Just make sure when you're touching the hair, you're not smashing anything. We're gonna work off this first section here. And we're gonna do a little weave. Nothing too crazy. Little weave. Comb it down. Back comb. Use your hand again. Focus it mainly on the ends. Give it a little bit more of a lived-in vibe. And then just kind of drop that down. And then again, You can focus that same piece that was right under it. So this will be kind of the top to give it a little bit more of a higher brightness. Let's focus on the ends. Back comb it again. And then we're just gonna add a little bit more dimension right on her ends. And this is really gonna help to brighten her. Not crazy, but just to give it a little bit more of a natural kind of sun-kissed vibe. And then use your fingers if you guys want to blur it a little more. And then drop it down. And then you can see here, it's already giving you those highs, lows, and all that depth and dimension in the hair. And then use your hands. This is going to give you more of a root melt. So you want to focus on keeping it a little more lived in. Come through here again. Do a little bit of a weave. Drop this out. Back comb. And then just paint the ends. And this is only going to give it a little bit extra more of a dimensional pop throughout the hair. So that when it pops through, if you guys see that, little bits of pops will give it a lot more dimension in. It'll make it feel a little special.
When do you choose to use foils or not when you're using that color? Is it just preference?
So this is still a color. So the previous color that I used was more of a speed lift. And so I really wanted to lock in a little bit more of the heat with the color conducting itself. So that's why I would rather use the foil. Versus here, I'm not using it for really lift. I'm more so using it just to create a little bit more of a pop. So I know I'm not gonna get a crazy brightness. I just want it to have a little bit more of a sun-kissed look. And also the thing to point out with heat is it always exposes extra warmth. And I don't wanna see too much warmth in this mannequin or on her. I wanna see just more of a lived-in kind of sun-kissed vibe throughout her hair. And then there you go. We would let this process for a full 15 minutes, shampoo and condition. And then again, we would follow up again with using our fiber cleaning. This is one of my newest favorite products. So it's gonna be this guy here. We would go in after the full 15 minutes, we would shampoo her with this. Again, this is gonna help to rebuild and strengthen 3 of her bonds. And it's gonna help to, it's gonna help to strengthen her hair up to 10 times. And it's just something that I really like that'll give you more of a customizable treatment, especially for something when you're looking for more of a dimensional color. I always feel like if you're doing a treatment, you wanna always make sure that you're having a little extra something in the hair versus just shampooing the hair and not giving it that full treatment that you really want in the salon. Is there any other questions so far? How are you guys feeling about these looks so far? So what I'm gonna do now is I am gonna, basically I just wanted to kind of refresh over everything that we did today. And I'm gonna send you guys over to my channel too. So if you guys do wanna check out the final result, they'll be on my Instagram. So I just wanted to kind of point out a little bit of what we did today. So we did use Schwarzkopf Professional. We used our Agora Color 10. So what's really nice about that is it's gonna give you our first look over here. It's gonna be more of our lovely speed lift. So you're gonna have these nice kind of highlights trickling out and giving her that nice dimensional vibe. And then we have this lovely girl over here, which is gonna be more of our darker kind of sultry look, where it's gonna have just a few pops and more dimension all throughout her hair. With our first model, we used 12-0 and we also used 12-2. So this is gonna give her about 4 levels of lift. And our first model here, our second model, I added a little bit of a shadow root, gave her a little bit more of a dimension with a level 7. And then we just added a few little pops around her hairline as well. Both of these models I'll go ahead and I'll shampoo, and then we're gonna use our fiber cleaning treatments on both of them to really give them that additional like shine and that additional luxury feel of Schwarzkopf Professional. And then I'll go in and style it for you guys. So if you guys do wanna check that out, a few things to follow is follow me, of course, at It's Branded Ballance. And then if you guys also want to find more about our color, there's at Schwarzkopf USA. And if you guys want to really dive deep into color knowledge, go to www.askelearning.com and sign up for under the United States, and it'll show you all of our portfolio and all of our colors and everything that we do offer with our Schwarzkopf Professional portfolio.
Someone asked if you meant the 11 series, not the 12.
Sorry, I did mean the 11 series, not the 12. Good catch. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what I'll do is, like I said, my first model, sorry, was 11-0 and 11-2 with our Agora Rail, or sorry, Schwarzkopf Professional Agora Color 10. And then our second model was with more of our depositing color. Alrighty then, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna wash these guys out now, and then if you guys do wanna stay tuned, I should hopefully have them done within the next hour or so, and I'll be posting them on my Instagram.
Can you repeat the website one more time, please?
It is www.askelearning.com. Yeah, and there's a dash in between e-learning. Little hyphen. Yeah. If you didn't catch that, sorry, because I'm talking, I have my mask. If you guys didn't get that, if you wanna DM me also on my Instagram, and I'll send you guys all the information. And if any of you guys were a winner, I did go ahead and screenshot some of your names. If I didn't get them and you guys were one of them, just go ahead and DM me, and I'll get a few more information so that we can make sure that we get you guys your presents. Love you all. Bye. Yeah.